quick Q&A. You can ask me anything style video because we did a few videos on the recent developments and how it's impacting MBA admission and recruitment out of school. And we got a lot of questions both on the forum and on the other two videos that we did with some of our admission consulting partners. So we wanted to do a current student take on the whole situation. A lot of questions based on admissions, a lot of questions based on deferral of admissions, and a few questions coming in for recruitment and what you're going to do out of business school. So we're gonna take a few of those. I see that a lot of you have joined. I'm gonna keep an eye on the questions too. We're gonna try to keep it under 30 minutes, but we have a few announcements for a few future videos this week, so stay tuned for that. So as usual, I'm Shovik. I'm a second-year MBA student at the Michigan Law School of Business. I'm here with Sam, who is my roommate and also a student. Sam, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Everybody, second-year student as well, Michigan Ross, and headed to Microsoft full-time.
Well, we hope.
We hope.
So that sort of brings us to what's going to happen with some of our internships. I'm headed to Amazon and Sam's going to Microsoft. So have you heard anything from Microsoft about what's happening, or do you have any update?
No, I have not heard anything specifically from their program.
Okay.
But it seems like I'm going to their cloud marketing division. So it seems like that's good right now.
Yeah.
They're not freezing hiring. They're not renouncing the internship program.
And do you know about like any other divisions like Office or Windows or M365 or Xbox? Do you know anything has changed for any of those?
No, not that I know.
Okay.
Looks like Microsoft is still going forward as usual.
Okay, so just so everybody is on the same page, we can only talk from our own experience and from the communication that we have heard from schools and or our companies. It's very similar for Amazon. We haven't heard anything. We got some communication last week about the fact that our joining date, my joining date is in June. So Amazon sort of sent a reassuring email that, look, I mean, for now, the joining date stays put. I do have a feeling, this is just me speculating here, but I think we will sort of head to a calmer situation in May. So I think both of us are safe. But that's not the same thing for a lot of our peers, and we'll get to some of those details. But I want to talk to admissions with you a little bit, Sam. So if you are applying to business school this year, like if you were going to matriculate this year, let's say you got an admission from, I don't know, maybe Ross, maybe Yale, maybe Tuck, and you're making a decision whether to go, what to do, what are some of the things that you will look into to decide whether you want to go to business school this year?
I would really think about what are my top couple of industries or type of jobs I'm going for, and what is the recruiting process, because investment banking happens earlier, consulting a bit earlier, and these companies are probably going to still be feeling some of the effects of it into the fall. And so that, not that it can't turn around by January, February, spring next year when it really, when the offers would come out. But through that fall, you may have a lot of like, oh, we don't know, or a state of uncertainty, and that doesn't necessarily help.
Yeah, that's true. And I think I would agree, because there's a lot of uncertainty. And I think even though most of the people in business school who have sort of secured internships or full-time roles, I would go on to say that they're safe. But for consulting and banking especially, but I think a lot of consulting projects and in banking too, I think things are sort of on the bench right now. So a lot of people have stopped their projects, halted them, pushed them to the next quarter. Like as a result, in fall or later this year, you'll have an excess of people, so to speak. So you may not need new people. Again, this is all speculative. So if I were trying to break into consulting or investment banking and was relying on like this business school to help me shift my career, I would be a bit concerned for sure. I would go on to say, though, that we saw an article floating around last week about how there are many employers who have stopped hiring or frozen hiring because some of that with a grain of salt, because a lot of this is speculative. We got official word from University of Michigan, and it seems like some internships, and by some I mean less than 5 or 6, have had some cancellations. I think it comes mostly from industries that have been affected the most. You're looking at things like hotels and airlines, both of which hire pretty aggressively from all sorts of business schools. But I think most jobs and most internships are still pretty safe.
Sounds like it.
So let me ask you another question that I keep getting messages about on the forum. So let's say you're in business school and option to ask for a deferral, right? You can at least try to see if they will let you in next year,
Yeah.
right? Or you choose to go this year, then the fall.
Yeah.
What would you pick?
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of it depends on how much, but your end goal here is to get that long-term, that full-time job that A, gets you the salary that you deserve, but B, that you're happy with and you're going to enjoy for the next bit of your life. So if it's truly a belief that this year will be somehow impacted, and especially the internship, because that's probably your best bet to get that job. If that's going to be impacted, limited somehow, if the kind of economic fallout isn't going to be fully recovered spring next year, I wouldn't risk it.
So you'd go for a deferral?
I'd go for a deferral.
If that's an option.
If that's an option. I mean, I faced a very similar thing when I went to law school about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
During the economic downturn of 2009, and it completely changed legal employment. Internships that people got through the 3 years, nobody was getting any of them. Nobody was getting with big law firms. So really, I mean, it's always great to save money and do it as cheaply as you can. Yeah. But the long-term goal, the real reason why you're doing this is to get that job that you really like. It pays you what you're worth, and if that's in jeopardy anyway, just because of economic fallout, I wouldn't risk it. Yeah, no, that's true, and I think for a lot of people that is an option, right? Who have secure jobs right now. For a lot of people, it's not an option because maybe they got fired or maybe they're older. So I think those things play into the game as well. I joined business school when I just turned 28, so I think I'd be comfortable waiting on a year or two. But at the same time, I think getting into business school is going to be more challenging. Again, this is me being speculative, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But I have a feeling that if things calm down in like a month or two, I think next year will be a huge surge in business school applications because a lot of people are unemployed. And we it's like the stock market. We see a surge in business schools when things are not good, because business schools sort of give you a nice cushion. It lets you stay off the job market for 2 years, and you can profiteer from the fact that you're coming out of a recession and things start looking up. That's awesome. So we are done with the question that we sort of saw on the forum. So feel free to ask questions on the live chat. I am taking a look at them, and we're going to get to them soon. But I want to take a quick question before we just jump into a few announcements. So this week we are doing a bunch of videos. So Sam and I sort of teased it in the last video that we did on how to break into tech and product management in general. So we are going to do a mock product management interview this Thursday. And we're going to do it at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is basically 45 minutes from now. And the format's going to be just Sam asking me a tech PM-ish question, sort of like what Google
asks you, but you're going to get similar questions from a Facebook or an Amazon or a Microsoft. So we're going to look at a product design and a product strategy question. And the basic format would be I would pretend to be an MBA applicant, and Sam's going to pretend to be a product manager. And we're going to try to diagnose what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well. Just FYI, we're not prepping for this, so be kind. We are not. I have not done these in like many months now, but I'm pretty sure I'll make a lot of mistakes, and we can all learn from that. So, okay, and the other thing is I'm also doing a video tomorrow on data sufficiency questions. Being on lockdown, this is a good time to get back on the GMAT train for most of you. And also, there's a big changes on GMAT, by the way, Sam. I don't know if you know the GMAT is sort of testing the service where you can take the GMAT from home.
No.
That is, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'll be distracted, and I think I'll do worse. But yeah, whatever it is, we're gonna. So one thing that I learned in the GMAT was this strategy that I use for data sufficiency questions. I'm gonna share that tomorrow, similar time. So stay tuned for that. All of these videos are on our YouTube channel. So subscribe and just make sure you get notified for these sessions. Okay, so I'm gonna take a few questions before we close. The first one, many Canadian MBA schools that I've applied have not announced the results yet. I have an admission from an Indian business school. Should I wait for the Canadian school or join the Indian business school? I mean, it depends. Where do you want to be after your MBA? Do you want to be in Canada? Do you want to be in India? Do you want to just make money? And that's pretty much it. So I would take the call based on your geography. So why don't you push the Indian business school? Push that decision, or maybe just pay the deposit. I can only imagine the deposit not being all that high for an IIM. So just pay the deposit. Think of it as a security money, and if the Canadian Business School gives you scholarship, then you win. So I wouldn't worry too much about the deadlines. You can choose to join whichever school you want to, regardless of whichever school you have committed to. So that's okay. So another question, where can we find this video link? Will it be on GMAT Club? On this YouTube channel. So videos don't disappear from YouTube. I mean, it could, but we just choose not to. So it'll stay on the YouTube channel. So if you look at youtube.com/GMAT Club, all the videos are there. So you can subscribe and just be in the know. We're also doing videos tomorrow and day after. So I'll just be on the loop. The other question that I got, Sam, I'll give this one to you. So I have 4 years of experience. I want to move to finance. Do I need a CFA, or do I just need to apply?
Apply straight to a finance, or apply for MBA? And
I guess for an MBA.
And apply finance. Well, I mean, when he says finance, it depends which.
It depends. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, there's a lot of financy things that you can do at business school. You can go for investment banking, which is more like like working with other companies and being like a professional. Or you can also do private wealth management, which is more like a business development, actually selling stuff. You can also do corporate finance in a big corporate company, which basically means you could do on the revenue side or on the accounting side. So it really depends. But tell me, for investment banking,
I think you can, but from what I'm just hearing from people who went through the process, I think the closer you get to investment banking and private, and PE stuff, I think they want to see some of that experience.
Right.
I don't know if you can jump straight from just if you had a corporate finance role, accounting role to go into there. I think they want to see some sort of work with investment banking or corporate banking.
Right.
From what people told me, I think going to getting a better corporate finance job, or going maybe if you wanted to get a finance job in a tech company like Amazon, Microsoft, I think that's an absolute very doable. You look pretty good for those companies.
Yeah. No, so by the way, a lot of friends got into Amazon and Microsoft finance roles without having any background in finance, and it's totally doable. And business school sort of teaches you a few financy things as well. Like you have your core classes and you have specializations. Michigan Ross, for example, and I can only speak for Michigan. They have a fast track to finance course, so you can actually come to business school early, skip a few classes, and just do this finance specialization, which most of my friends who recruited banking, they did that. So it might also be helpful. By the way, we have 10 minutes left on the clock, so feel free to ask questions, and we're going to get to them in the next 10 minutes. So we're getting a bunch of questions. What are the good profile elements for a person having 5 years of experience in the energy service sector? Is there a likelihood of GMAT going to be taken from home? There's not a likelihood anymore. The GMAT released that they're going to launch service where you can take the GMAT from home. It will not have the AWA section, but everything else will be intact. And it seems like schools will, it'll be the same score. So it seems like schools will be able to compare the GMAT from home scores versus the GMAT scores that you have taken in the test center. So it's not speculative anymore, but GMAT Club has a big thread on that. Lots of people contributing. So just check that out. Just search GMAT from home, GMAT Club, and you'll land on the thread. All right, next question. I'll keep this one for you. The profile question, I didn't take that. What's a good profile for somebody from energy sector? I think it doesn't matter which sector you're from. I think it's still similar. You have to have a decent GMAT, official leadership. Do you think there's anything special for a special sector?
No. I think, those two.
Yeah.
It also depends, unfortunately, demographically where you're from.
Yeah, if you're an Indian male, it's going to be tough. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but it's also like it depends. Like an energy sector for a small contractor in India, they will not be the same as working for a Schlumberger or an Exxon. You know what I mean? So the big brand name will also help. Okay, question. This is a very specific question for you. Currently practicing as a lawyer.
There you go.
And and that's where the similarities end, because this person wants to shift to consulting.
Okay.
But have no background in consulting. Thoughts and tips. I'm just gonna before Sam says anything. Most people who do consulting have no background in consulting. Go for it, Sam.
No, I mean, I think that depending on the legal field you are in, the legal cases are very much like consulting cases. It's very client driven. You have to be very good at relating to clients. You have to be very good at dissecting a problem and giving a solution. That's exactly what a lawyer does. So it's really about showing those transferable skills. I did it from a public defender role as a criminal defense attorney where I didn't even have paid clients. And the ability to show that that's like consulting really impressed them. So I think you're totally in the wheelhouse. Think about it a little. Think about how it really connects, and I actually think you'd be very good for
it. Just so everybody in a second, I sort of nudged him to it. He just recruited for one consulting company, didn't really network at all, went for like one event and got to the final round. So it's definitely doable, very possible if you put in the work. Okay, sorry, I'm getting drowned in questions a little bit. So to scroll up. Do you think round one dates will extend? You mean for next year? Likely, I guess. Round 3 extended for this year. So it's likely that round 1, but I'm not sure why though. Like, are you going to take more time to write an essay because of the pandemic? I would assume that you would take less time because all you're doing is staying at home. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably the bigger thing is when are you going to get that GMAT score that you want?
Yes.
So if you've got it now, you just essay, right? You should have plenty of time. If not, you'll have to see when you get that score that you
also, I wouldn't hold my breath for round 1 deadlines extending. And it's only like April right now. You have plenty of time to go. So I'm not going to recommend waiting on that. I was admitted to Georgetown with a scholarship. Congratulations. I'll be funding without a scholarship. I'm sorry. That was...
Well, still congratulations.
Georgetown's a great school, exactly. I'll be funding the entire fee on my own. Should I attend the school this year, take a deferral, and attend next year? Well, we sort of discussed this question. I think you should, first of all, you should negotiate. I think you should ask for money. And I think this is an Indian thing. Indians think that negotiating hurts and people may take the offer away, or people will think less of you. No. Yeah, people respect you when you ask for money.
Again, and I think that when it comes to deferment, it's really, that's what's the status of the industry that I want to go into. So think about which one it is. When is the recruiting timeline?
Yeah.
If all of that happens and where you'll be recruiting in the fall, it's not that it's not going to clear up. It's just going to be, it may be a touch uncertain at that point.
Right. Another lawyer. What is this? Did you all know Sam's going to be here? Currently practicing as a lawyer and want to shift to consulting, but have no background in consulting. So same, I guess it's an exact same answer. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, and I think with that respect, just in my limited time recruiting for consulting, I mean, I think networking is really good.
Yeah.
You can really set yourself. I mean, I was able to, with really a week after the resume drop, through networking, calling, showing interest, get that first round interview.
Yeah.
So, and the lawyer thing is actually very transferable to being a consultant, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the chances for international applicants in round 3 or 4 this year in the top 15 US business schools, given the state of deferrals? There is no round 4 in most schools. So round 3 is sort of like the ultimate. What are the chances? I have a feeling the chances for domestic I'm being speculative here. I have a feeling the chances for domestic applicants is higher in round 3 than it used to be last year. But having said that, I also think the chances for international are even lower because there are visa uncertainties and because nobody knows how this situation will unfold. It shouldn't stop you from applying to schools, but just so you know that international students in the later rounds will have a lot more uncertainty than domestic students. Actually, one of my favorite people in the MBA admission consulting space, her name is Maria. She wrote a blog post on Applicant Lab, which is her website, about round 3 admissions. So go check it out. Go to Applicant Lab and find the blog and just see what she has to say, because she knows a lot more than both of us combined. All right, more questions. Okay, so we're sort of at the tail end right now. I have to be more selective with questions. I have an admit to the 1-year MIM program at London Business School. Congratulations, great school. Yeah. If I attend this year, how bleak are my employment opportunities looking? I'll be applying to jobs in 2020 though.
Same. I mean, it's hard to say right now. It's hard to say. Europe is still, and London and UK was kind of on the timeline of America almost. So it's tough to say. And I don't really know we don't know which job you're going after first. That's a big issue.
So just so you know, like, things are going to be bleak for a while now. So it's not like if you go to business school today versus if you go to business school tomorrow, you're going to have the difference is going to be marginal because businesses will still continue to suffer. It's about the industry that you want to go to. If you want to go to tech, now is as good a time as any. Not really has been a huge impact. All the stocks are up, so I think no layoffs so far. So I think you're going to be fine, but I would push you to make just think about it from your own personal journey standpoint. Where do you want to be? Has that industry been affected? And then try to ask the same question.
I think the other thing you got to watch out for is if you want to go to tech,
and
you go to tech and you get to your MBA or your MIM program, everybody their industries like consulting, banking are down. They may shift to tech as well, and you may see a surge.
That's a valid
towards
point.
Tech too. So
tech might actually be more competitive, and it's going to be harder.
And that's a speculation, but you see that just generally.
Yeah,
people don't make consulting.
No, that's a totally valid point. All right, more questions. I want to admit from USC Marshall, it's a great school too. I have 7 years of experience in India. I want to get into marketing PM role. Should I go ahead or go for a deferral? There's no easy answer to this. For marketing or PM in tech companies, I don't think you'll have a lot of issues finding a job in this market. But again, as Sam said, and I think he's right on how other industries, if they are down, more people will flock to tech. So you may have a little bit of a hiccup there. So just take your decision seriously. And also look, I mean, USC Marshall may not defer. I mean, you can ask for it, but what if they don't? Because a lot of people will ask for deferrals. And if they defer someone, it's going to set a bad precedent.
They probably don't want people deferring.
And then suddenly next year, they're going to have to half of their class is already in. So it's not easy.
If you're looking to stay on the West Coast and you're looking for tech marketing, things should be cleared up by
I think
spring next year. And you're gonna have a flood of companies still coming to USC. looking for people there. So I think that's, you should be in a decent spot, and that depends on what you're looking to do.
Yeah. All right, question. We're on 2 years of work experience. I'm studying for the GMAT. Should I apply for the 2021 MBA or wait now? Considering the economy, definitely want employment in the country and end up going to. I think this is a good time to go because you're not looking for a job right now. Like if you go to business school tomorrow, you're looking at a job a year from now or 2 years from now. So I think this is a better time than waiting it out for a couple more years because I think business schools will get more competitive. That's what I.
And the timeline of that question is where you take your GMAT maybe now, summer, start applying in the fall, and you would get in 2021, which I'm assuming things would be cleared up by then. And businesses will probably be ramping up. So you're probably on a good timeline if you can follow that.
Right. And also like being young has huge advantages. So you are very young right now. So I would still take these risks, even if the economy has a downturn, you still have more years to sort of job. You can do a dual degree. You can push that time even further. All right, we are out of time, so I'm going to take just one last question. I would like to know what would be the impact of COVID-19 on top business schools. Are they going to postpone admissions? Well, let me know when you find out. Nobody knows, so it's a lot of uncertainty. They're not going to postpone admissions. That's much I know. People have sort of set up an online infrastructure. The question is, how are people going to give their students the same experience or a closer experience so that it seems like it's worth their money, because business schools are very expensive, man. So you'll have to figure that out. And the second big thing to work on is, are people going to hire MBAs? Because most people don't go to a business school to learn accounting. They go to business school to get a job they want. So those things are more difficult. I don't think schools will push admission. I think things will come down. I think China and South Korea are good examples of how this thing can be contained. I think the US and Europe will both follow.
I think so too. I think it should calm down by fall or at least the end of the year.
Yeah. All right. So that was a session. I'm just going to do a general reminder. Tomorrow, a similar time, I'm doing a data sufficiency session on strategy. So look out for that. But more importantly, day after on Thursday, Sam and I are doing a mock product management interview because a lot of you asked for it. So be on the lookout for that. Like the video, subscribe so that you get notified. I don't really care if you like the video because that doesn't do much, but do it because then it helps YouTube's algorithm to push more GMAT Club video and we get more views, I guess. Also subscribe because then you're going to get a notification. There's a bell icon that helps. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the data sufficiency and day after for the mock interview. Thanks for joining. All right, Sam. Thanks for coming to us.